to be one of the most influential boards for this city. Next to the Port of Houston disappointment. So I took the nomination serious. And I looked for the best person that could deal internationally, highly educated, contacts throughout the world. And so I offered what I felt was the best person to fill this position. We just got back from a trip to Korea and Japan. Probably the highlight of the Japanese trip was meeting the ambassador from the U.S. ambassador to Japan, Ambassador Caroline Kennedy. The administration in Washington appointed her, and I think she was the perfect person at the perfect time. The Japanese love her. She truly loves them and serves them well. I think of another appointment, a few administrations before that. It was a George H.W. Bush that the administration in Washington put in a position for ambassador to China. The man would go every morning, ride with Barbara Bush through the streets of Beijing, and stayed with the people. It was a good choice at that time. I truly believe the relationships built during that time saved the relationships between China and the U.S. after Tiananmen Square. I felt that important that my appointment would be the right person at the right time for the future of this international city. You know, Houston First sells Houston. Houston with no limits. It sells it to the world. And I felt I had the best person for the job, and that's what I was offering. Just talked to her on the phone, and she graciously has agreed to stand down and maybe wait for the next appointment, to where there would be no disagreement on the importance of this board and who we put on it. So I think she needs some accolades. She's started to head this way, but she said, no, Jack, just take my name off of it. But I just want to tell you that I think she was the right person at the right time to promote this city, because this city is getting to be an international destination. 92 councilors in this city. We need international presence. We're on the cusp of being one of the greatest cities, not just in this nation, but in this world. So make sure that the work Houston First does is first class, it's international, and so I'll withdraw my nomination at her request. The most gracious, sharp person. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Christie, and I know that you were steadfast in your support of your nominee, and she is an outstanding candidate for any board or commission in the city of Houston. We've seldom seen folks with the credentials that Mrs. Untermeyer brings, but we now have only one nominee for the Houston First Corporation Board. We can move to a vote on that nominee at any point. Councilmember Boykins.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just say, first of all, Mayor, I want to thank Diane for Ms. Untermeyer for putting her name and her background and her credentials into the pool of being a candidate to serve on the Houston First Board. As I mentioned to her earlier, I know her husband a little bit more than I know Ms. Untermeyer, but after reading her resume, I was impressed with her credentials, and truth be told, I just felt that she would do a great job given the opportunity. But that doesn't mean that the candidate who's been selected is not qualified and not prepared to lead Houston First Board or work with the board in terms of building this city from a tourist perspective as one of the leaders in the country. I find that I'm not going to rehash and go over Mr. Womack's credentials, but for anyone who knows him, know that Mr. Womack brings all the credentials we need to move Houston First forward. I don't have to talk about his international travels and his relationships. He's qualified and he will do a good job. So I just want to thank all the council members who committed to help Mr. Womack, to support Mr. Womack in this endeavor. Again, I want to thank Ms. Undermeyer for putting her name through this. Sort of feel bad she had to go through what she went through, but I think she's a well-qualified candidate for a future position. I look forward to meeting with her about what that may be. But I do want to let y'all know we're getting a jewel of Mr. Womack. I thank him for his volunteerism and his commitment to want to serve this city on a volunteer basis. He's solid, he's rock solid, he has the credentials to move Houston First forward, and I look forward to him being the next board member. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Boykins, and obviously, Mr. Womack is a very well qualified candidate. We appreciate his willingness to make a business sacrifice, because obviously he would be, he has a very extensive business holdings across the city of Houston, and not only will this board take time, but he will be prohibited from doing business in a lot of areas in which he has in the past. And so when someone steps forward and is willing to take a sacrifice on that, we appreciate that. Councilman Pennington.
Thank you, Mayor. As the chair of the Ethics and Governance Committee, we did, these candidates did appear. And I think it was the consensus of everyone there that either candidate is highly qualified to serve, and I think we're lucky in that regard. And since Ms. Untermeyer has withdrawn, I'd like to say I know her as a friend, and I also know that she's very connected locally. She was the communications director for Christ Church Cathedral. You recall we had the rector of Christ Church down here last week to give the invocation, and you know that the church is very active in providing food to the homeless and outreach to the homeless, as well as serving 3,000 members. So I think she's connected internationally, but she's also connected locally. So I just want to thank her for agreeing to serve, and hopefully we'll find some other spot for her. Thank her, Mayor.
Councilmember Bradford.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning. I simply want to commend both of the nominees to the mayor and my colleagues. This is a win-win.